It's not in the cards for you. I'm pretty good at insults, and I got the internet and a lot of free time.
I kind of feel like we need to become preachers for socialism, or at least democratic socialism, whereas we tax the rich at a higher rate than we do now. The reason for that is that almost every Gen Z and millennial I meet, I'm Generation X, but almost every Zoomer and millennial I meet is someone who really likes Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. They wanted those people to become president. They want AOC to become president after Biden. There's a lot of sentiment for what Bill Maher speaks. There's a lot of sentiment for what Michael Moore speaks. And there's been this growing sentiment since the 1990s, since I was young and in high school. Spokane's different because the Republicans are in power because of the old money, and nobody votes for the Democrats because nobody identifies with the Democrats. But if there was a socialist party or a Democratic Socialist Party, the DUSA, in Spokane, they would probably win over the Democrats in Spokane easily, just as well as anybody else in probably even the United States, because the baby boomers are the Democrats and the Republicans. But guys like me, all the way down to 18-year-olds, identify more with the DSA or democratic socialism or rich people need to pay, or the idea that all our businesses would be nationalized aside from maybe small businesses. So like Amazon would be nationalized, which would drive down costs. And there's a whole joke about the gold toilet if the government was in charge, but that's really just kind of ignorance. We all understand the difference between socialism and communism. And I personally don't have a problem with communism because people under Stalin and those regimes in Romania, largely like 80 to 60% want to go back to those regimes. Most of those politicians were chosen from worker collectives rather than the billionaire class like they are in capitalist societies, which controls the media and how we view things. So in relation to age gap love, we need to understand that there's a lot of Gen Z that know a lot of Gen Z women and won't introduce anyone other than Gen Z guys to those women. But we understand that greed is indicative of the capitalist society. And we know why through telomerase and the Van der Waals forces, potentially the increased immune system because of those reports of well-being in a age gap relationship could be because the immune system increases. So if you really think about it, those are your women in theory, but in fact, those are our women, because it'll create a stronger zygote and will also create a stronger pair bond, otherwise known as love, between. But you're seeing a lot of stinginess with information. I've dealt with Generation Z through Isaac, who was my best buddy for a long time before he went to Idaho to get treatment, where he would want to hang out, but he wouldn't want to share any information on women. He wouldn't want to share any information about where to locate them, do any like wingman stuff, even if I paid for the motel room at Motel 6. So there's that stinginess even among democratic socialists and socialists who supported Bernie Sanders. Generation Z has something to atone for here. There's 500 million Gen Z women. There's a lot of them that don't want to have children. But it does create a stronger sense of well-being with men my age, Generation X. I question, why are you doing this, Gen Z? Well, stinginess, greed, but we're socialists as well. That doesn't make any sense to me. What you're saying is that you're going to be greedy even though you're a socialist, when socialism is against greed. You see what I mean? Greed is what is destroying America. Also bigotry. I would gladly share my meal with Isaac, and I do all the time when he's around. We would kick it, and he would supply weed, and, you know, friendships are supposed to be about reciprocity, not transactionalism. That's a bonehead maneuver. It's not transactionalism, it's reciprocity. if you can afford something and they can afford something, you should contribute more to the fun of the environment. We both smoked a lot of weed together. We both bought a lot of weed. Isaac was a good dude. He's 19 and I'm 41, but we hung out all the time. We would swap stories and we would trade advice. But he would tool off to go hang out with the women. But you see, we both enjoyed coming out of Lanos because he was Spanish American and I'm just a guy who likes Mexican food. You know what I mean? But there is that stinginess among socialists. We're all socialists. We're all Marxists in some way. We're all left of the Democrats. We need to stop being greedy and bigoted as a society. And Bernie Sanders largely focused on that issue. And I'm sure Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez will focus on that issue as well when she runs against Biden. Generation Z women, I want to make a proposal to you that you only have sex with Generation X males when you're straight. The reason for that is there's no reports of age proximate love increasing the feelings of chemical equilibrium or chemical well-being within the body. And chemical well-being would be increased serotonin, which makes you happier, and also increased power of the immune system, which means the wattage of the overall cells that fight diseases, the antibodies, under the London dispersion force or the van der Waals force, seems to increase within the reproductive system. If you can think of a reason for an antibody within the reproductive system being able to detect pathogens, diseases, viruses sooner and from further away, I'd like to hear it, because that doesn't make any goddamn sense to me. You really ought to consider only males between 35 and 55 years old, even if you're not interested in having babies. Only having sex with males or marrying males between the ages of 35 and 55. Only getting into relationships with men, starting relationships with men between the ages of 35 and 55. Because there are so many reports of scientific studies of the generation gap relationship producing feelings of well-being, which would be feelings of increased happiness and health. And my conjectural analysis of that is that it's because it increases the electrical impulses, joules per second, or wattage of the antibodies. Perhaps only consider late-stage millennials in 2021 and Generation X males when you're dating and having sex and having babies and getting married. Only consider the 35 to 55-year-old range. Also, we're more mature. And what's the number one complaint from women about men? That they're too immature. Also, it seems to increase the tactility of baby DNA. So, having sex with males and dating males under the age of 40, at least scientifically, when it comes to logic and reason, is that there's no goddamn logical reason to date men under the age of 40. Consider only Generation X. Of course, millennials will be there too soon. Consider only the 35 to 55-year-old range because of the electrical impulses of the antibodies. The wattage seems to increase. The joule per second seems to increase. The microwatt, the nanowatt of the antibodies. So what's it in it for you? Well, your reproductive system is more powerful from our electrical sperm. Within a relationship, I'm one of those guys that says honey, baby, and sweetheart. A lot of motorcycles. I like to say honey, baby, and sweetheart within a relationship. As soon as I'm with a woman, I don't go to another woman. You know what I mean? I don't have a different chick every day. I'm not one of those guys. A lot of people down here at the bar scene, of course, have a different guy every day.
But I say nigga a lot because I feel that as a socialist, it should be okay for everybody to share the wealth of that word. For some reason, it releases the oxytocin of non-white chicks that aren't black and white chicks that aren't black. So everybody but black chicks from a white guy, it releases oxytocin because they like bad boys. That's always been the case. Women have always liked bad boys. We're against classism, age phobia, and ableism. So if you call me a retard or a schizo, I can easily just say, nigga, that's not right. You're a bigot. You see what I'm saying? The same logic is, if you say that as a man, I can't say the word bitch. It's Spokane. It's hotter than a bitch out here some nights. You know what I mean? People should be able to say the word nigga even if they're white. They should be able to say the word bitch even if they're not a man. I'm seeing a lot of greed out here. I'm seeing a lot of age phobia, and I'm seeing a lot of classism. But that doesn't make much sense since we're all for AOC. I want a girlfriend. And we should consider the fact that if I'm Generation X and want a girlfriend, the only reason that you're not is because of your own bigotry, nigga.
Generation Z needs to consider the following. They're a socialist generation, a generation for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I'm sitting here without the money to have a credit card and a car. I don't want a car because pollution. I don't want a credit card because I don't want debt. Also, I can't afford that. My job is going to be, if you have something to air beef out about over the internet, pay me $50 over Cash App and I'll do that. I've made $250 doing that. I'm trying to make a little money because I want to start a family. I want to date Gen Z women. So if you consider the fact that you're a bigot, I'm just going to say bad words all day until you like me, because otherwise, motherfucker, I don't want to appear like a conservative. I want a Gen Z wife because they're hot. You know what I mean? They're hot, attractive, generous women, and I know that they have empathy deep in their heart. Biden they view as a pedophile. Trump they view as a pedophile and a womanizer, but every time I see Gen Z, they're walking around with multiple women. That doesn't make any sense in the context of socialism, guys. And you're going to your cars and your money and your wealth and your status. Also, doesn't make any sense in the context of democratic socialism. We're for AOC and we're for Bernie Sanders. Generation Z is known for being a generous generation. Well, if that's the case, my name is Wern and I want a girlfriend. Let's talk. Gen Z isn't completely stupid. They are a little bit hypocritical. They know they need more socialism because they have shitty jobs that they're not really prepared to work for. The oldest Gen Z is like 25. So like there's some that are doctors, but most of them are working in offices in the mall and stuff like that, like fast food and stuff like that. When you're 25, you're not really high on the ladder. So they know they need more socialism. You know what I mean? They need more socialism like they need sunshine tomorrow, because they need to get paid more for their jobs. They need a higher minimum wage, so therefore AOC. They need more taxes on the mega wealthy like Bernie wanted to do, which would give them better education and healthcare. Zoomers understand this, so they're socialists. But at the same time, you're seeing a lot of these guys walking around with more than one homegirl. That doesn't make any sense in the context of democratic socialism, because we're about sharing the wealth. If you got more than one homegirl, you're a hypocrite and a capitalist, and you're a laissez-faire capitalist. In fact, that's a bit like fascism. If you're not dating me, you're not dating me based on the fact that you don't know me, and I'm in the corner of the future as female. That doesn't mean that I won't say that they're a bunch of bitches, because they are. If they're going with the guys with the credit cards and the cars, they are a bunch of bitches. That doesn't mean we don't love these bitches, you know what I mean? We do need female empowerment, but we also need to consider that classism is a bitch. If women are going to go around calling themselves a bunch of bitches, I'm going to agree with them. They're a bunch of bitches. And they do. They go around calling themselves a bunch of bitches all the time. We're a bunch of bitches. We're bitches. Why do you want to date us? Well, I am into dating bitches because I'm a straight male. It doesn't bother me that they're a bunch of bitches. We need bitches on our side, you know what I'm saying? Female empowerment is about empowering women to be bitches. We still want to have sex with bitches, so fuck bitches. But what's bitch really? Sometimes it means somebody that's a coward. Somebody it just means mean women. Sometimes it means women that are just as ambitious as men. Bitch is a badass female. AOC's a bitch, but she's a bitch in our corner. You know what I mean? I've called my dad an asshole before, but he's an asshole on the side of good. You know what I mean? It's okay to be an asshole as long as you're an asshole on the side of good. Bernie Sanders was a major fucking asshole. All he did all day was go on Twitter and talk shit about Republicans, and it was funny as shit because we need more assholes and bitches in this world. We need people to stand up against the right wing. I've been a left-winger since I've been in 6th grade. It's just that context changes all the time. There's bitch empowerment. There's complaints about women that they're bitches. I'm not really complaining about women as bitches, but sometimes I am. If they flock the money or the guys that got more than one homegirl, then it's all just a big bitch fest, isn't it? Because that's greed, and greed is against democratic socialism. We need to vote for AOC because we're for more money for our jobs. And I would like to get more money. I would like other people to have more money because it's a bitch out there. $50 for me to mitigate one side or mitigate the other isn't a lot of money. If I was getting $100 for that and my $100 was shaped like $200, then life wouldn't be such a bitch in America. We didn't get any COVID checks except for 2 of them. We got more money than anybody because this country is a major bitch. We need more bitches on our side and less of them against us. And we're the people. We're not the power structure, but still the power structure to the homeless and people that can't afford cars are the cars. And the people with multiple women and the credit cards. That's all a bitch. That's all a pain in the ass. That's assholes getting women because they got more. That needs to end. That's greed, and we're all left wing. I'm tired of this bitch. We need to consider that Gen Z in Spokane is fucked up. You women are dating guys that are my age. But I was the one who opened up the shit about age phobia is you fuck up with other guys. You're a bunch of hater-ass bitches. And I'm going to keep saying that until you stop being a bunch of hater-ass bitches and you date me. This is exactly how the cops talk, too. You're a bunch of hater-ass bitches. Until you're dating me, then I have every right to complain. I can date one homegirl for the rest of my life and be completely happy. Present bae. Present bae, ye to bae. That's why I always say that, I can't go to the bars right now because I don't have an ID, because I don't have a permanent place. I'm trying to get into a place where I am a roommate in a situation where I can't drink or smoke weed, which is fine by me. I don't really care. I have the Abilify now. But you have to consider that Spokane is a beautiful town. It's nice and hot. There's a lot of beautiful women here. I came here 5 years ago to meet really hot women who are a little more down to earth. But it's really funny when the police are saying words like bitch, but the women are saying words like bobbage. Like their language is rated G, but the cops their language is rated R. I don't think the cops really care much about the language issues. They care about crime. You know what I mean? They're not here to police your goddamn language. They're saying bitch all the time. And they wouldn't harass you for that. I know these guys pretty well. When you're homeless, you get to know the police pretty well just because they're always trying to check up on you as part of the wellness community. I kind of think that Thin Blue is a socialist organization. I think that ACAB is also a communist organization. I think that Black Lives Matter is also a socialist communist organization. They're all perfectly fine organizations. If people are going to harass me about stuff, then I have every right to call the police. That's why I would do that. I'm not saying I really would do that, but if you do that, you're a retard. You're just some fucking cunt in my face. And the reason you do that is because you're a fucking cunt. You hate to hate. And that doesn't make any difference because nobody give a boo about a bitch. I just want to meet a hot Gen Z chick that's like 21 years old, and they're all dating like anything out there, you know what I mean? A lot of them are bisexual. A lot of them are dating black guys. A lot of them are dating guys that are my age. But I open up the fact about age phobia. It's hot outside. It's August. I've been here 5 years, and I'm sick and tired of being single. If it's about dollar signs, well, the homeless down here are dating hot chicks too. And when you're walking around with multiple chicks, you're greedy. You're not a socialist. You're not introducing me to women. You're about sharing women when you're a socialist. You're about sharing information. You're about sharing party. You're about sharing things. You're not a socialist. We know that we're democratic socialists. But you're not acting in the context of a democratic socialist if you're not inviting me to your parties, because you're being a classist-ass bitch. And it's just the way it is. Quit being a bunch of retards and introduce me to hot women. If you walk up with multiple women, I'm going to say that's a bit greedy. Please be generous. I'm here to date hot 21-year-old chicks. But I really only need one. Come have pizza with me, you'll get to know me. You don't know me. You don't know what I'm capable of. You don't know what I'll do. I know that if I am harassed, I don't like violence. At least not in the context of me being harassed. I'll get rid of you if I want to. And if I say you're greedy and you bitch about that, wah! Quit having more than one homegirl. I'll date a black chick. I'll date a white chick. But if you're not hot, I'm not going to date you because you're not healthy. I don't give a shit. I'm indifferent. But I'm here to find a hot chick. I'm here to find a girlfriend. I'm only going to date hot young women. Give me one. Prove the existence of your God. Prove the existence of God's love, if anything. Prove the existence of Zoomer love. Prove the existence that Gen Z are capable of love, because I don't think they are until they have evidence. If they were, then Gen Z would be going to have pizza with me at Twix. I want the opportunity. Give me the opportunity. Clear a space. Ooh, in the bed down spot. It's like 70 degrees outside. I sleep outside a lot right now because it's summertime. So I'm just thinking about it, and it's really weird to me how Gen Z considers itself to be a very generous generation, but whenever I see them, they're just rolling around with multiple chicks. That's not generous. That's not socialist. You guys should stop being a bunch of bitches and hook me up. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to say that you're bitches. What I'm saying is that you have a lot of females and you're males. A lot of you guys are Christians, okay? Well, consider Luke 12:15. Be wary of greed in all forms. You have all these hot chicks. If you don't hook me up, you're going to burn in hell for this. And consider socialism is about sharing the wealth. You're going to feel pain for this. You're going to feel guilt. How are Gen Z males even worthy of my time? I don't understand that. You know hot women. And there's a bunch of you that know hot women that are like my age and older. I don't understand how you're useful to me if you know all these hot women and don't yeet a bay. If you're not inviting me to where you hang out with these hot women, I fail to understand how we're friends. But you always want like something from me. You want my conversation. You want a cigarette from me when I don't smoke. You want to smoke weed with me when I don't smoke weed right now. You want to drink with me when I don't drink right now. You want to do things with me. Or you want to consider that we're friends. Well, we're not friends. You know all those hot chicks, and I want to meet the hot chicks. So if you don't introduce me to those hot chicks, and we're in a situation that I wouldn't like where there's meth, well, you do you and I'll do me. I don't want to hang out with that. I suppose if I move to the suburbs at this place that I'm trying to get into, I'll be able to meet some hot women because they're all over the suburbs. They don't really like to come downtown because it's because of this kind of attitude. A lot of people don't like to drink. You do see a lot of the hotties rolling around on the scooters, and that's fine, and I guess I could do that if I got a debit card, but I don't really want to hang out with myself, and I don't want to hang out with guys unless there's hot women around. And I'm only willing to date 18 to 21-year-old women. You might say I'm a bigot, but they produce the most telomeres in their eggs, which would give kids the strongest baby DNA. We've been through this. There's the feeling of well-being in a 20-year age gap relationship. And a lot of you guys are dating women that are 20 or 30 years younger than you, or going around to fuck them. You're probably just going to smoke meth with them, or smoke pot with them, or drink a bottle of something with them. I can't go to the bar right now, or any of the bars, because I don't have an ID. I'll do that when I have an ID. I'll just approach like, hi, I'm Lucas. Can I buy you guys a drink? And I would probably buy the whole table a drink, because a bunch of Long Islands or whatever would be like $7 each. And even if it was like 5 women, that's like, what, $35? That's nothing. And then I would just mac on the one that I liked. I would smoothly talk about telomerase and van der Waals forces and stuff like that. I would just kind of prose to her. Why not? What's the worst that can happen? You know, she'd just be like listening to the vibration anyway coming out of my mouth. I'm sure that they would allow me to buy them drinks. There's nothing else to do. I don't really want to hang out with guys that know a lot of hot women that aren't introducing me to hot women, because you're going to go to hell for this greed. And if you're not a Christian, well, you're a socialist generation, and you're going to feel guilt for this. Karma's a bitch. This is going to bite you in the fucking ass. There's a law of attraction, and I'm a little bit remiss to understand why you don't understand this. If you have a lot of hot chicks in your life and you're not introducing them to me, I don't see why we need to hang out unless I'm talking to those hot women. I'm a straight male. I want to have sex. I want to hit some fucking pussy. I want to eat some vagina, and I want to get married someday and have kids. There's a feeling of well-being from 20-year age gaps that is studied quite often. And there's a lot of age gappers now in Spokane. You're welcome. But, I mean, you haven't remembered Wern. Well, then fuck you. You're causing me to be self-reliant, which is what a Republican would mother the fuck say. This greed means that you're gonna burn in hell, according to your beliefs. See you in hell, Christians. You really need to consider just dating Generation X dudes. I'm going to say that again and again. If you're Gen Z, consider dating only Generation X dudes if you're Generation Z. Because there's no studies that say there's a feeling of well-being and chemical equilibrium when you have intra-generational sex. There's no study that says that sex is more pleasurable when you have age-proximate relations. There's no study on this. I've never seen that. But there's all these reports of more pleasurable sex from dating dudes that are older than you by about 20 years. Oh, it's just a feeling of well-being. It's like a chemical equilibrium. You see this over and over and over again in these sort of generationally gapped relationships. Women and men both reporting, it's just this feeling of well-being. Well, that's probably because it improves the immune system. And they know about telomerase now, so they know that the immune system would be improved by that. If you have higher telomeres in your feet, you have stronger feet. Better telomeres in your eyes means you have stronger eyes. So if you have more telomeres, more telomerase and longer telomeres in your balls, in your sperm, and in your eggs, then those particular organs or cells would have more antibodies in them, which means that my sperm at this age, my semen has more antibodies that are improved somehow. And also female ejaculate. Women that are young, people that are young, their whole body has a lot of telomerase in it because they're young. But there's more of it within the male balls in the sperm. So the semen itself would have antibodies in it, of course, because it's a fluid. And there's antibodies in your semen, just like there's antibodies in the whole of your body wherever there's DNA. And there's DNA and RNA all over your body. The DNA is housed in the nucleus of the cell. It twists around with proteins that create chromosomes. And if you have more telomerase, you have longer telomeres, which means that the feeling of well-being would be serotonin, happiness, and immune system, which would be an improvement of the wattage, voltage, and amplitude of the antibodies, the van der Waals force, or the London dispersion force. My electrical sperm, my sperm at this age is more electrical because it would give your kids stronger DNA. And that means, seeing as 67% of women between 18 and 24 want to have children, should consider men between 18 and 24. And there's a whole bunch of homeless guys dating and fucking dudes that are women between 18 and 24. You're welcome. I opened up the thing on age phobia, Spokane. Maybe you should hook me up with a chick instead of being greedy little Christians about this. Luke 12:15. Also, socialism would be about sharing and caring. Quit being a bunch of fucking hypocrites and introduce me to hot women. Yida Bay! You're gonna burn for this. Burn for this. Somehow. You really should consider having sex with my electrical semen. Because it would have more wattage, which would be a feeling of well-being. Why all those studies on the feeling of well-being in those 20-year age gap relationships? The reason why there is so much divorce within anything is because of non-acceptance. There's so much divorce within age proximate relationships. 50% of marriages end in divorce. If it's more within age gap relationships, I don't know, but probably because of stigma. They're just like they're in interracial relationships, there's stigma. So there's social pressure from families about this. Oh, he's black. Oh, he's white. Oh, he's 40. Oh, he's 21. My parents wouldn't give a shit. They're in age gap relationships. My mom is 10 years younger than my stepdad. My dad is 8 years older than my stepmom. They don't give a fuck about this shit. They wouldn't care if my wife was black. They wouldn't care if I was gay. They're liberals. They don't care about that shit. They talked about that openly when they were young. When they were young parents. Like, as long as we're happy and kind people and good people, they don't care about that shit. My parents are cool about shit. You know what I mean? So you should consider being 18 and dating me. My electrical sperm, the van der Waals force, the London dispersion force. There's all sorts of names for it. Well, those two names. But there's all those reports within medical journals like New England Journal of Medicine of age gap relationships with a generational skip being better feeling sexually and relationship wise because we're more willing to listen to her. Because we don't want to lose her. We're more like the therapist boyfriend, which is what you fucking need. Like the gay boyfriend, you know what I mean? Except without being gay. I'll still fuck the shit out of you, but I'll also listen to you. It just comes with maturity. I've gotten along well with 18-year-old women, hot 18-year-old women in mental hospitals. That's why I go to mental hospitals, because it drives me the fuck crazy not being around them. And the only place that I seem to meet hot 18-year-old women are mental hospitals. Maybe school will open up and there will be that, but I don't really want to do school right now. I want to work on making some money. I want to earn $48,000 in a year because I want to have money to start a family. And I want to have a real job so you'll respect me. And the way I do that is I would do the mitigation online. You give me $50 and I'll tell your story about some problem you have. And then somebody will give me $50 to rebuke it. And we can go back and forth on this. It's what I was doing before, and I made $250 at this real quick. I want to do $1,000 a week. I want to make some money. Sorry, but I need a clit. Spokane, listen up, you little sluts. We're all for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez here among this generation, Generation Z. I'm Generation X. The millennials are largely for AOC too because of female empowerment, and they want someone like Bernie with that female energy, or at least that young energy. So, okay, if we're all for AOC and I don't have the money for a credit card or a car, and you're fucking some guy with more money than me, you're a fucking hypocrite. That's against Mark 23. Hypocrite, you're going to burn in hell for that. Or if you're not a Christian, karma's a bitch, and you're going to suffer non-enlightenment for that. If you're a non-religious person like I am, you're going to suffer guilt by being a greedy liberal or a greedy democratic socialist. Most women, I would say, are for AOC. Most men are for AOC. They're within the age range of that I would date. So the Zoomers, the Gen Z women, you're all for AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, as am I. So if you're dating a guy with a credit card and a car, you're a bloody-ass hypocrite. And you need to stop and wise up and realize that we're socialists, not capitalist dogs. But we do need to make money within the capitalist system in order to survive and to have things that we like in this world. But if you're not considering my ass because I'm homeless, you're a classist. Or because I have an EBT card, you're a classist, which means you're more like Biden the pedophile or Trump the pedophile. And you need to reconsider your position to AOC, who's going to save this fucking country from its greed and worship of money, which you have every time you plop a credit card into a Lime scooter or haul around more than one chick, you greedy fucking bitch male. Yeah! We're for AOC, not the fucking cunts like Trump and Biden. Stop being hypocrites, Zoomers. Suck my fucking dick. But you don't have to do that right away. I'll buy you pizza. Or if you want, just suck my fucking dick. Kind of like stroke the shaft too and lick the balls. Maybe like get in there in the asshole and like kiss my fucking hole. The anus. Like lick around. Give me a good rim job. Because you're fucking the dumb dude bro misogynist bitches. But they're a bunch of fucking assholes. These wigger ass tools. I am a better fit. Because I'm homeless, you need to consider that your bourgeoisie ass is being a major fucking hypocrite. It's like being a Democrat and dating a Nazi. Knock it the fuck off, you little fucking hoes.
You're scaring the hell out of me, man. Everything that I do good, I try to do good.